Hi guys. So we're going to talk about a movie. In 1977, as everybody knows, Star Wars came out. And after that, a whole bunch of movies came out that everybody says are Star Wars knockoffs. Now, there are Star Wars knockoffs that came out, don't get me wrong. One of the movies often called a Star Wars knockoff is Disney's The Black Hole. The Black Hole is not a Star Wars knockoff. It was already in pre-production when Star Wars came out. We're going to talk about another movie that's oftentimes called a Star Wars knockoff, but it's not. It's its own movie, and it's a good movie. Today, we're going to talk about The Ice Pirates. Before we go any further, make sure to click like and subscribe. That way you'll get to see more content like this. Also, to help other people find this content. You can also join my Patreon. There'll be links down below. And a reminder at the end of the video. For now, enjoy the rest of the video. So, The Ice Pirates came out in 1984. As I mentioned before, people talk about The Ice Pirates like it's a Star Wars knockoff, which it's not. One of the things that frustrates me about all the talk about The Ice Pirates nowadays is that people say the Star Wars influence is obvious. Clearly, they don't know that both the writer and the director refused to watch Star Wars because they didn't want to be influenced by it. On the other hand, The Ice Pirates itself is secretly very influential. Every now and then you run into someone like, maybe it was Sam Raimi, maybe it was Quentin Tarantino, who will cite The Ice Pirates as a reference, as an influence, and there you have it. It's like everywhere. It's and I have to say, it definitely influenced my own writing. Space Pirate Chronicles is something that is directly inspired by this movie. In fact, my character, Captain Nick Nap Time Vallejo, is basically a Mexican version of Jason. So, before we start talking about what the movie's actually about, let's talk about the on-screen talent. Of course, you have Robert Urich playing Jason. After this movie, he would become famous for Spencer for Hire and a few other things. You have Mary Crosby. If you don't know who she is, she's the one who shot JR. If you don't understand that reference, congratulations, you're not a boomer. You got Michael D. Roberts, who was a prolific character actor who won a number of awards over the years. And then, of course, we have the character Killjoy. He's played by John Matuzak. John Matuzak's most famous role is Sloth in The Goonies. Unfortunately, he did die of something that was probably addiction in 1989, so we didn't get to see the rest of what his career might have been and what he might have done. Then you have Angelica Houston. I mean, come on, she's John Huston's daughter. She's very talented. She's very famous. She's won every award. Of course, you probably remember her from the Addams Family, but she's been all over the place. We have a very early role from Ron Perlman, Hellboy. With John Carradine's last on-screen performance before his death. Now, Robert Urich was a headliner here because his movie Vegas was a hit, and the one he was best known for. I think he might have won an award for it. Basically, for everybody else, this was a real early movie. This is the kind of movie where you have an extremely talented and award-winning cast, but the movie was made before all of the awards were won. So let's talk about the story. Now, like a lot of movies at the time, it does take a good half an hour before the story proper starts, and they spend that time introducing the characters. So we see Jason and his crew raid a Templar ship. The Templars are in charge of the galaxy. They own all the water. They're kind of an evil empire. So they raid the Templar ship. They fight a great battle. They find Princess Karina, and they don't rape or pillage her. And then this ridiculous scene kicks off the raid. Then the ship has to separate, and only Jason and Roscoe get captured. Everybody else escapes. Then they get castrated, sort of, but not really. Then Karina buys them, puts them on a ship, and now the story starts properly. So Karina hires Jason and Roscoe to find her father, who was searching for the seventh world. The seventh world is a water world, and anybody who finds it would be instantly rich, and they would break the Templars' monopoly, and it would be a huge revolution, and everybody would be free, right? So right off the bat, her father is a really great person. So they travel to the Pirates' Moon, where we get this really fantastic sequence where Jason convinces Karina to bang a local official, to get access to his transportation. She begrudgingly agrees. So she goes over there to hit on him. Finds out she's a woman and she wants to sleep with Jason.
You're he is a she, and she thinks you're wonderful.
She does?
Then we get this really great set piece, which clearly inspired TK Baha from Borderlands, and then this wonderful battle. Then they leave and travel to another world where Karina's dad left some crew behind. And they find this severed head guy, and this is just ridiculous. Then they do the space herpes thing. There's also a ridiculous sex scene, which I'm not going to show because it's YouTube. And then, finally, they find the location of the world, and they navigate the time dilation field, or whatever it's called, to get to it. This is where the big action-packed climax happens, which is basically a pie fight. Everybody ages sporadically, time stops, people get old, whatever. And then Jason's son shows up and saves the day.
Here I come, Dad!
Jason, it's him. That's our baby.
In the world, and it turns out to be Earth. Now, for whatever reason, the studio made them cut a scene where it would have shown them hanging out on the beach on Earth, and it would have been very clear the seventh world was Earth. I don't know why they cut it. The movie probably would have been better. It was filmed and everything. So anyway, this movie is ridiculous. Without having ever seen Star Wars, they parodied it better than Spaceballs ever did. The fundamental story still made its way through unchanged by the comedy, and it's a really good story. It's about a woman searching for her dad. And none of the ridiculous crap that happens changes that. And she ultimately finds her dad. And then she continues his work. Because she wanted to finish his work. And it's really, it's just a fantastic movie. All of the jokes land. We have this one.
Mean anything by this, but is there any
We have
particular reason why he's black?
Sure. I wanted him to be perfect.
This ongoing one from the early 80s about men and testicles. And there's this poor guy. He's just doing number 2. And while it is true that the reason the movie got greenlighted was because Star Wars was so popular, and at this point we're talking Empire Strikes Back was in the theater, Return of the Jedi was on its way. So without Star Wars, the Ice Pirates wouldn't have been made. That's true. But the Ice Pirates is not a Star Wars knockoff. What it is a $20 million movie that was filmed on an $8 million budget. Actually, it ended up ballooning up to $9 million. And it shows. They clearly spent their money on the big set pieces. They scrimped money on all the space scenes. So that's why all the spaceship models look like crap. It's a character-driven story. So they spent money on character moments, and it really shows. We have very believable aliens, and there's a lot of world building. And by the time the movie's over, you're really invested in all of the characters. You're really cheering for them. There really isn't another movie like this. Not even Star Trek has done this good a job with characters and world building in such a small amount of time. I mean, Star Wars did okay. But honestly, The Ice Pirates oftentimes makes a list of movies that are so bad they're good. And I'm going to disagree. I think this is one of the greatest movies ever made. Was it a little bit low budget? Sure. Should they remake it? Absolutely not.
Was out there.
father was right.
Can't wait to see him.
Look how beautiful that
It's
is.
exactly as they always said it was.
Thank you for watching the video. If you made it this far, you definitely need to like and subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to get notifications. And don't forget to join my Patreon. At some point, when people join my Patreon, this wall is going to be filled with names. Obviously, there aren't any right now. YouTube might be suggesting some videos here for you to watch. You could also do that. Have a nice day.